What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Cowboys Corner. I have the Houston Texans fan, Coach Donte, in the building. This is a collab that's been waiting to happen. We were supposed to link up a few months back, but then vacation happened and things started stream rolling with family. And I was like, I didn't put you on the back burner, but but it kind of felt like that to me. So I was thinking, who can I talk ball with today? I owe Coach Donte a collab, so I got to get my boy on here. I'm a subscriber to him. I love his play-by-plays. He does play-by-plays in all sports, whether that's college, NFL, basketball, football, you name it, man. He play-by-play is phenomenal, guys. You guys got to watch it. But Coach Donte, how are you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Like I said, I'm so excited. Like I was telling you, man, I'm so excited to collab with one of my favorite Dallas Cowboys content creators. Like I say, tell people all the time, I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. I hate them, but I respect the organization and some of the fan bases, some of the people that are fans to it, especially you. Like I said, 1980 fifth quarter Cowboy. You guys are my favorite Dallas Cowboys content creators that I like to watch. Love and respect you, man. I'm happy to be on the show to talk some football.
Yeah, absolutely. Right off the bat, we got Dallas Cowboy fan 1980 in the comments
There
section.
you go. There you go.
The Power Man himself stopping by to say hi. Appreciate that, brother. And then we got JJ. Let's talk real bit. None of that in y'all's feeling stuff. Salute, go boys. Yeah, absolutely. We keep it 100 on here. That's one thing about me. I don't talk about the rainbows and the unicorns. I'm not getting hyped up at this stage in training camp, Coach Donte, because it's helmets, shorts, and a T-shirt, all right? There's nothing. Yeah. I seen a video on YouTube as I was scrolling through, and it said, Sam William highlights. He's having a good training camp. And it was him doing defensive tackle drills with the dummy. And I'm sitting like, you can say that about anybody because they're doing the exact same thing. Like,
yep.
They're not doing nothing at all. So it blows my mind. I know the excitement is high. The excitement is up there just because it's training camp, right?
Yep.
And football's right around the corner. And in a few weeks, we got our first our game on August 12th, the preseason game. Unfortunately, I don't think we played the Houston Texans in preseason no more. That was a Texas Cup rivalry, Coach Donte. But no, man, what's your favorite, right off the cup, let's go right into it. What's your favorite Cowboy Texans memory, man?
Oh, I can't never forget the first ever Texan football game that we ever played when we got our first win versus you guys, first ever franchise win versus you guys. The first year that the Houston Texans opening it up, I remember a touchdown pass to Miller in the end zone. And that was one of the most memorable things, as a Texan fan, as coming up in franchise 2002, getting that first win. But not only who we got the first win against. It was absolutely against Dallas, against you guys. So that really was a special moment in my life and stuff like that. Because before the Texans came back, I used to be a Browns fan. But when Houston Texans franchise opened them, hey, I'm from Houston, born and raised, always in Houston. So Houston Texans, and then we drafted David Carr, who was actually a pretty good quarterback if we had an offensive line, some type of offensive line. We had no offensive line at that point. It took us some years to get offensive line, but far as getting that franchise first win and for it to be against Dallas was really something special. And like I say, I will always remember that.
Yeah, man. Right off the bat for me, dude, it was Tony Romo getting back there, close game. J.J. Watt sprinting to him. Tony Romo got out of it, slung it downfield, touchdown.
Yeah.
Terrence Williams. Right? Golly, that was a nail-biting game. It seems like every time the Cowboys and Texans play, it's always a nail-biter. I mean, you look at last year, the 90-yard drive that Dak Prescott had to put together just for us to win the game. I mean, the Texans were just more physical. They wanted that win really bad, things like that. So, it seems like every time we play the Texans, it's a really good game. Before that, Deshaun Watson, they beat us.
But before that game last year, it was Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, the famous spin move. You know, the famous spin move in overtime, to put us in field goal range, to kick a field goal. But in that game, like, I was kind of upset because we blew some opportunities at the goal line. We had about a bunch of opportunities at the goal line, and I believe Leighton Vander Esch was being a pain in our ass in the goal line. We were getting stopped on the goal line by you guys, and then we forced the overtime. I remember we forced the overtime by sacking Dak Prescott. And then y'all end up getting the ball first. We end up stopping y'all on the fourth down. We end up making y'all punt. I believe we end up making y'all punt, but then the first play, Deshaun Watson throws a screen pass to DeAndre Hopkins, and he turns it into like a 5-yard screen pass to a 50-yard gain, and he spun around like 3 times, and we end up kicking a field goal. Now, but when we, like you're right, when we play, it's always a tight ball game going down to the wire. Mentioned last year, we we was bad last year, but we lost 8 close games last year because of lack of quarterback play. But when you have Jeff Driscoll and you have to have a 2-quarterback system, that just showed you how bad your quarterback really was. But for us to compete in that game, and for Dak Prescott not to come through instead of until the 80-yard touchdown drive, it was a great game, man. So I gotta give it to y'all, man. Dak Prescott scooped it out when you needed him to, because he had a bad game until that time. He played horrible until that drive right there.
Yeah, no, for real. And 1980 said, "We finally made it, guys. Football season is finally here. Still the I think season, but it's here. Absolutely." 1980. Both teams are at training camp. Both teams have familiar faces on each team. The Texans got Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz. Do y'all got Anthony Brown too, or where did he sign?
No, we don't got Anthony.
Y'all just got Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz, and we got the trade with Brandon Cooks. So you guys got a couple of rookies in there. The Texans made a big splash this draft, right? I mean, they really me and Cowboys blog, we go live every draft on the first day. It's a tradition that we do on the Frisco Report. And when Texans drafted, and then next thing we know, they traded back up there and got another guy. I looked at Joe. I said, "The Texans for real, man. The Texans are for real." So walk me through like how excited you were as a fan that they're being so aggressive, trying to rebuild that franchise. They had horrible trades with Hopkins, letting him go, getting rid of JJ Watt, excuse me. They just had some bad, some bad juju there for a little while. And then, they got DeMeco Ryans in here, a former Texan linebacker, and now they're starting to do some football things, right? So walk me through as a fan how that's feeling for you.
Hey, it's feeling great, man. It's feeling great, especially, the way people call us a dumpster fire for hiring the 2 coaches, David Culley and, Lovie Smith. But we all knew at the end of the day that they weren't going to be franchise coaches that was going to take this team in the right direction. Lovie Smith had issues with the players, the coaching staff, and plus the game that we end up winning versus the Colts. That was a big problem. He was fired early on that day. But Derek Stingley had a great season, had a pretty good season, but he was used wrong. He's more of a man corner than a cover 2 corner. So a lot of players was used wrong. David Culley had locker room issues with a lot of players. So it was right to let them go. They were going to be franchise cornerstones that can take this team over the top and be franchise future head coaches. And everybody said that we are dumpster fire. We giving up on coaches too much. But then we hired the best head coach on the market at that time, DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans is a guy, that took over the San Francisco 49ers defense. They became an elite defense in the National Football League. Fred Warner, he takes undrafted players and 3rd-round players, and he developed them into star corners. You look at Fred Warner, how much he meant to DeMeco Ryans. You look at Ofonga, the safety that turned into an All-Pro. You look at Aziz Ashir, who's with the Titans right now. DeMeco Ryans is a coaching guru on the defensive side of the ball, and for us to able to land him and him to come back home to Houston. Remember, he started his career out here in Houston, out here as was an all-pro linebacker in Houston. So that was the first thing, and we end up getting the first thing on the market. But it's also Nick Caserio felt a lot of pressure to get the right coach hired for this organization, because you look at other candidates out there like Jonathan Gannon, Mike Kafka, Ben Johnson, and all of that, and Sean Payton, who you had to give up picks for, but realize Denver Broncos wanted DeMeco Ryans bad. They wanted him really bad. He turned them down twice. Just to be the head coach of the Houston Texans. And then that's when Denver said they wanted to go ahead and hire Sean Payton. But getting the head coaching job position right first, it was the first key. And adding some tough, good free agents here, like you got Dalton Schultz, who's been a very solid tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's going to be a help to C.J. Stroud as the quarterback. And even though, he kind of will, I'm going to talk about what happened to him at training camp a little later when we get to that mode. But other than that, he's going to be a nice passing threat over the middle of the field for C.J. Stroud. We end up getting Noah Brown, who had a 500-yard receiving year for the Dallas Cowboys. He's been very impressive in camp. He's been consistent in camp. We also get Devin Singletary from the Buffalo Bills as a backup. That's a 865-yard back. That's pretty good. I mean, even though Buffalo don't use their running backs a lot, but that's still pretty good production on less carries that he's getting. And then the draft process comes, and this way it got tricky. And nobody knew what we were gonna do. You keep hearing about a defensive player, quarterback, defensive player. I will tell you this right now. DeMeco Ryans loved it Will Anderson more than he actually loved the quarterback. But at the same time, he knew what we needed. We knew we needed a quarterback. We knew we couldn't go into another season with Davis Mills and Case Keenum as our quarterbacks. They knew that. So at the end of the day, they did what's right by the organization. And give shout out to Hannah McNair, because she had say so on the pick and who we were gonna pick. And C.J. Stroud was the pick, and I'm happy to get our franchise quarterback. And then, like I said, he loved it Will Anderson to death. But he made a sacrifice, traded picks to go up and get Will Anderson. Will Anderson is acting crazy so far in training camp as well. Then you get an underrated wide receiver who's really good in the later rounds. Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State, who's really tall, who really can get open in space, got good footwork. You also get Henry Toto, Alabama linebacker. DeMeco loves those linebackers. He loves the hell out those linebackers. And you also we got Dylan Horton in the 5th round, who had a great year in TCU. So we got a lot of versatility. We straighten up our offensive line. Our offensive line is already better than what it was last year by adding Shaq Mason. We re-signed Tonsil and Titus Howard. So I expect the offensive line to be better than what it was a year ago.
No. Yeah, it's a lot of moves, guys. This is Coach Donte right here. His link to the channel in the description. Great content, great play-by-plays of all sports, guys. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe up to my guy right here. That memory right there, did y'all hear everything? He just dropped like 100 names. Just bam. That's what you get from Coach Donte. That's what you get on his channel. And that memory, it serves him right, because, I mean, he'd be watching a game and he knows every player. Hernandez pass it to Sanchez, and Sanchez makes into 3. How do you know their names? How do you know that? And it's every sport, any sport, man. Right here, y'all subscribe to Coach Donte. But no, Dalton Schultz, man. So yeah, Noah Brown, you're going to see some hit and misses with Noah Brown. All right, and you might see some inconsistency, and it could be the way Kellen Moore played him. Right, so I'm not going to knock Noah Brown at all. I appreciate his services and what he did in Dallas. He did make some big catches for us, some big plays. It just took him a while to get going because he wasn't really involved into the offense up until just last year. So look for that. They had to bring in a guy like T.Y. Hilton because Noah Brown kind of disappeared. So there might be some inconsistencies, but that just could be a reflection of that offensive coordinator. Dalton Schultz, on the other hand, we did a roundtable back in the day. And we had a guy on this team called Rico Gathers, all right, a Baylor basketball standout trying to convert to a tight end of the National Football League. And on this roundtable, this particular roundtable was surrounded by great Dallas Cowboy football minds, all right? And Cowboys spent a 4th-round draft pick on Dalton Schultz. His rookie year, Rico Gathers was on there trying to develop into that tight end. And people were trying to convince me on this roundtable that Rico Gathers was going to be better than Dalton Schultz. All right, a Stafford standout who caught. He only had 9 balls thrown to him in Stafford, but he caught all 9. That stuck out to me. All right, and he came in here. Jason Witten was still on this football team. Jason Witten, as the legend, the Hall of Famer that he is, he sucked down talent and didn't let talent blossom because he never got off the field. And so when he retired, Dalton Schultz really stepped up his game and played. Don't talk trash to him on Twitter because he will block you. Ask fellow Cowboy fans, they will let you know. I haven't talked crap to him just because I've always been a fan of Dalton Schultz. You know, he really stepped up his blocking ability on the edges. So you're going to see him be able to block for your running backs, block for your quarterback. You're going to see him in the Y option. Down the seam is his best threat. And so you're going to like Dalton Schultz, man. I'm going to miss him. But we got a replacement in Schoonmaker. We got second-year tight ends in Hendershot and Jake Ferguson. And so it's going to be real interesting to see how Mike McCarthy uses those guys. It's going to be real interesting how your offensive coordinator uses Dalton Schultz and uses Noah Brown. But the best luck to you. And right off the bat, we got a Jay Becerra in here. He was at Oxnard. It looks like the Cowboys are looking to pass over run this year. That's from what he saw in Oxnard. I've been to Oxnard, and they run a lot of passing routes. It's really hard to do your running game with no pads because you want to protect your D-line, you want to protect your offensive line, you want to protect your running backs at a certain capacity. They're going to do some plays with the running backs and running game, but it's hard to really run that without pads, right? So Cowboys do a lot of passing in Oxnard, but it's something to look at because, you know, Dak Prescott has new wide receivers on this football team, Coach Donte, and so he has to develop that relationship, get that pour down. Michael Gallup really wasn't 100% last year, so he has to get that rapport back with Michael Gallup. So you're going to see them getting the communication down on the offense side of the ball, and that's why they're passing more. Watching training camp live yesterday, you know, there was some miscommunication between Dak and Michael Gallup. And, you know, they got to clean that up because in week 1, we play them nasty, stinking, nasty football Giants. You know, we're going to have to put the hammer on them, all right? And so this right here is where it starts. This is the money maker right here. This is where everything happens. And so let Dak get his timing down with his wide receivers because the Lord knows he needs it, all right? And so it's going to be good. But no, who has been your training camp standout so far, Coach Donte?
Well, my training camp standout has been this defense, how good this defense been. But on the offensive side, Tank Nathaniel Dell, our third-round rookie out of Houston. He's pretty small, but he knows how to get open in coverage. He's very quick. He can catch. He's got spectacular hands. If you watch his tape over there with the University of Houston, the guy is fast. He's also a very versatile special team. Can return punts and return kicks. He can also be a gadget player for you on the offensive side. He's very explosive, and he's been killing it in camp. And also, you got John Mechie coming back off leukemia cancer last year. He looks really good in training camp right now, man. So the rookies that are the rookie receivers they're not looking like rookies right now in training camp. Even when you go one-on-ones with the DBs, man, they being able to get separation right off the move, man. So I've been very impressed with these rookie wide receivers. And on the defensive side, Steven Nelson has been a lockdown corner. He's been a lockdown corner. Jalen Petrie and Jimmy Ward, that's one hell of a tandem. Right now, matter of fact, Jimmy Ward knocked out Dalton Schultz today. He forgot it was pads. He forgot it was pads. But Dalton Schultz gonna be all right. It's nothing serious. We get into full pads on tomorrow. But this defense has been outstanding. But our rookie receivers has been amazing in training camp, including Xavier Hutchinson as well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You know, these players. I don't know if you played ball in high school or not, but we had two-a-days, right, in Texas football. And we would have had to practice 2 weeks before we could have pads, but we would set it to where the first day of pads would be like 5 a.m, because the Texas heat index would be like 120 on the first day of pads. So we would actually like literally wake up at 3 a.m, get everything ready, and at 5 o'clock a.m. we're ready to hit the weight room and we're on the field in full pads, ready to knock each other out just because of the itch. But before that, it was always. I'm surprised we didn't tear ACLs, but how hard we were doing it, And if UIL found out, good Lord, dude, we'd be having to suspend some football games there just because we weren't supposed to go that hard.
When you think about it, he hit him with no pads. It wasn't even no pads on it. The impact that he had really is good to see. But we get in helmet and pads, and Dalton Schultz, he got up off the field up on his own power. He stayed down for about a good little minute, but he's going to be fine. But what's impressed me more that the hit without no shoulder pads on, pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So Cowboys stand out. There's a Cropper wide receiver that's really standing out on the football team. What the heck's his name? Something Cropper. But he's been standing out. Deuce Vaughn looks like somebody. Deuce Vaughn looks like he stole somebody's purse and he's trying to run off the football field.
Yeah,
he looks. Yeah, Deuce Vaughn is so tiny, dude.
He is good. He was good at Kansas State. I remember watching that dude. That dude fun to watch when you get up and over.
Jay Becerra said, "You think Jalen Lewis will come back?" Yes, he'll come back. He's just starting the season off pup, trying to get his foot injury right. He happened kind of towards the middle of the year, trying to get things going. But no, those are kind of our standouts. Our defense just looks amazing. Ashawn Wright already has a couple of picks there. Marquise Bell, a second-year guy, undrafted free agent, really making a name for himself too. Terrence Steele not starting the season on pup was a big deal coming off that MCL tear there in his knee, so all the rehab's back. So health-wise, I like where we're at. The addition of Stephon Gilmore, man, I really think that with the newly paid corner and Trayvon Diggs, let me say his name again, Trayvon Diggs. All right, he's paid. We don't have to worry about any of that distraction with him. I really thought that would be the odd man out, but the Cowboys got it done. So those are kind of my standouts. I mean, this defense for Dak and company to go against this defense, I really like it. They talk about the cliche of iron sharpens iron, but I mean, this is like the best iron on the market, all right, because of that defense. So I'm really happy where we're at. I really think Cowboys defense can be number one overall defense, all right, in the National Football League. 2 years in a row leading in takeaways. Sacks, they were second in the National Football League last year. Their sack numbers, their takeaways, that leads to success. I just need consistency with Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott because we didn't see that with Kellen Moore and Dak Prescott. So give me some consistency, Mike McCarthy. Let Dan Quinn cook. All right. And let's get this party rolling. We got a question here real quick from Drew. He's an Eagle fan. A question for Donte. Will Dak be the quarterback for the Texans next year? I say yes.
Hey, man, we got our franchise quarterback in training camp right now. So, hey, man, y'all got Dak, man. Y'all got Dak, man. Y'all got him. But we got our franchise quarterback for the next decade.
So here's my thing. He's an Eagle. Drew's an Eagle fan. He comes here a lot. He supports the channel.
That's why he did it.
Yeah. So here's my thing. Everyone knows where I stand with Dak Prescott. All right. Dak just turned 30. There's only two quarterbacks in the whole entire National Football League existence that's ever won a Super Bowl. Eli Manning and was it Drew Brees? Who was it? I think it was Drew Brees. Eli Manning and Drew Brees. Those are two quarterbacks that won Super Bowls between 30 and 31. All right. Can Dak Prescott be the third charm? Can this defense, if Joe Flacco can get to a Super Bowl and win it because of that defense, our defense can too. If Colin Kaepernick can get to a Super Bowl because of their defense, I think our defense can too. All right. So I really need this defense to really launch us out of that bubble to get us into an NFC championship game. But on the flip side of that token, let's talk about franchise quarterbacks. because they have one in Jalen Hurts, right? They just paid him, so they have no choice.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts was he for that contract? Now that contract's paid, will Jalen Hurts be the same Jalen Hurts? That's the question. And that's to be determined. Jalen Hurts was in a simplified system that worked for him, very smart on the coaching staff, and it worked. I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts' numbers in the playoffs; they weren't the best numbers. I mean, his best playoff game, I think, was the Super Bowl, and he had a fumble, right?
Yep.
So they took the ball out of his hands, and that's what you got to do. Jalen Hurts ain't the best quarterback. Dak Prescott isn't the best quarterback. The Cowboys have to find out how to take the ball out of Dak's hands, use that running game, use quick passes, use play action. And if they can do that, Dak Prescott looked like Joe Montana out there, dude. And that's hands down. He'll look great. So speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about your rookie.
Yes, sir.
You have Mills who has some veteran experience, right?
Yeah.
So CJ Stroud is in a really good spot for coming in here because he has a veteran that's behind him that can teach him the ins and outs of the games and what he's seeing, what he's supposed to see, help him with film study, etc.
Yeah.
But do you see any flaws? And I know it's still early, but do you have any suspected flaws of CJ Stroud going into his rookie? Yes, he's a rookie. He's going to throw his picks. He's going to have his learning experience. But do you see like any fundamentals that you're like, I need him to do this?
Oh, yeah, I see. Of course, like you just elaborated, you're going to see some flaws in every rookie quarterback. And it's still veterans out here. You still see some flaws making some mistakes. So every quarterback going to make mistakes, but this is why I'm going to come in at getting Case Keenum also will help him out, a veteran that knows the game, that's been a part of that took Minnesota to the NFC Championship, that played for us, for him to come back to Houston. He's also going to be teaching CJ Stroud the ropes. But one thing, a flaw, he holds on to the ball too long. He holds on to the ball a lot longer than expected. That's mostly like trying to stay in the pocket, and survey the field because he's more of a pocket passer. But at the end of the day, I like when you're trying to survey the field and not just trying to run up out of the pocket. So that's one flaw that he had. He seems a lot of flaw. Another flaw that he has, he seems to rush to throw a lot lately. But other than that, that's pretty much the only two flaws that he has. He hasn't thrown a pick yet in training. He's been very accurate, but he's got way more strengths than flaws right now. So I'm not seeing too many of these flaws, but it's only, like I say, it's a couple of flaws, and it's pretty much sure you got some coming in the regular season when he gets on that field week 1 versus the Ravens.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good test, man. The Ravens are going to be a real good test for him. When you talk about Lamar Jackson,
Yep.
Got the check, man. Went to the bank and cashed it. All right. You talk about they got Odell Beckham. So, I mean, that's going to be a real good week 1 test. I think the Giants are going to be a real good week 1 test to us, but it's Daniel Jones. He got paid too. I'm not scared of Daniel Jones. My brother, he's a Giants fan. He calls him Danny Dimes. I call him Danny Nichols. He's not a dime yet. I don't think he ever will. So Danny Nichols, not scared of him. I think mark that down as a win for the Dallas Cowboys, right? We do got the Hall of Fame game. We got the Jets and we got the Browns on Thursday. Football's back. Are you going to be watching the game?
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing it just because football back, man. I'm just happy that football back. When training camp is here, football is back, man. When training camp is pretty much here, man, it's pretty much back, man. So like I say, got guys out there fighting for roster spots, fighting for position, fighting them to make the team, and this where everything starts at in training camp, man. This is when you put them helmet and pads on. That's where you see the real test of what guys got or what guys that's gonna make a guy. So like I say, when that pretty much come, training camp pretty much here. Football is pretty much here, and I'm gonna be trying to do every preseason game I could do because I'm just happy it's football back.
We got Drew back in here. He said, "Question, Coach Donte, is Brandon Cooks washed, or will he really make an impact, especially with Dak at the quarterback spot?"
Brandon Cooks ain't washed, man. And man, he played 10 seasons, 7 of them was 1,000 yards. And he had but really he was disgruntled over here in Houston. I'm kind of glad we traded him away. It was nice to do business with the Dallas Cowboys with y'all. Nice to do business with y'all. But that Brandon Cooks still got something left, man. The man still is good. He's a very good leader. He's a very good leader. He's a very good man off the field and on the field. Never gave nobody no problems. He still was professional before he left, man. The man still can do it. He still can give you 1,000 yards. And I believe he's going to help the Dallas Cowboys receiving core. And he also adds some of that veteran leadership, man, to that young receiving core, CeeDee Lamb, Turpin, them, and Gallup over there. So I think he still can be productive, man. I believe in his early 30s. He no more than in his early 30s. So he still got some miles on his body, man. He still can create separation. He still could take the top off the defense. Don't underestimate Brandon Cooks, man. He still got it. I believe he's going to help the Dallas Cowboys out.
No, that's great news. Like to hear that. Him and Dak is really developing a rapport. I mean, there's some clips going around with Brandon Cooks, number 3. He's wearing number 3. I mean, Dak's throwing dimes to him, man, and his hands, they just look smooth. I mean, those hands look really smooth. He's been doing it a long time. He's been traded. He's been on many football teams. I don't think wash would be the right word. I think he's just a seasoned vet that has some tread left. I don't think wash would be the name. And even if he went to the Eagles or, whatever the case might be there, I would still say he's a seasoned vet that had tread left, Now, Zeke going to the Patriots, that'd be washed. Zeke's washed. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just don't have the power anymore that he's had 3-4 years ago. I mean, that power, it's so sad to see because Zeke with Ohio State, Zeke early on with the Dallas Cowboys was an explosive Ezekiel Elliott. But it's a running back thing. But let's talk about, you're a very football knowledgeable man, Coach Donte. So there's a lot of running backs that are mad at the National Football League because of the running back market. Where do you stand with that on the running back market side? I have my opinion, but I want to hear yours first. So are the running backs right to complain, or is the market just right?
I mean, if you're Saquon Barkley, I'm going to just say, for instance, if you're Saquon Barkley, you may have a right to complain because 1,400 yards, coming off a hurt ACL injury, and for them to not to be putting the ball in Daniel Jones' hands a lot. And you got to give credit to Brian Daboll. Daniel Jones able to become a game manager because of Saquon Barkley was able to run the football with consistency and catch it out of the backfield. And plus, he's an extension of that running game because he does a lot of read options. So you do got to credit Saquon Barkley for that, and he does have a case from about the complaining because he's looking at himself. Hey, I ran the football 1,400 yards last year. If I get started, hey, this team gets started. If I don't get started, then hey, you're going to have to trust Daniel Jones to beat you throwing the football. And Daniel Jones cannot beat you throwing the football. But what he can do, he can make some decent throws if the running game is on, if Saquon Barkley is on. That's the key to everything. So I think, Saquon Barkley holds the keys to that offense when he's getting involved, when he's running the football. You're going to see Daniel Jones be able to make some easy throws, open up play action. And plus, he's an extension of the run game with that read option and stuff like that. So if you're looking at Saquon Barkley, he has a point. He has a legit point on why he should get paid. And then you got Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor had a hurt season last year, so I understand the Colts situation that they probably don't want to pay him because he's been out half a season. But at this point, if you're a running back and Saquon Barkley, that could be some of the points that the Giants, that he's kind of injury prone a little bit, but he played a lot last year, including in the playoff game. So I think Saquon Barkley has a legit point. But the problem is, the holdout situation, people seeing it, Le'Veon Bell, how he stopped, how he fell out because he had that season where he held out in Pittsburgh and it kind of hurt him. It hurt him a lot. And he hasn't been the same then. So from Saquon Barkley's standpoint, he may got a point, especially for the New York Giants. If they're going to compete anything, you're going to need Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. So the running backs as a whole for me, Coach Donte, is I think the market's just right. and hear me out. The Cowboys overpaid Ezekiel $18 million a year. The Dallas Cowboys try to reset that market, and it didn't stick because not only the Cowboys valued the running back position, all right, for the first time in a long time because they didn't pay DeMarco Murray. The Eagles did, then he went on to Tennessee, right?
Yep.
So for the Cowboys to say, you know what, we value Zeke, and Zeke earned that contract, all right? Zeke was a powerhouse, and we're talking about a passing league. I mean, Jay Becerra talked about Mike McCarthy running no huddles and passing the ball a lot, you know? It's hard to find a running back like Adrian Peterson. It's hard to find a running back like Sanders or Smith. You know, those running backs are rare. I mean, CJ 2K, right? Those running backs are rare. So unless you're one of those guys that has that high potential, like Zeke had that potential. I mean, look at his numbers. The numbers don't lie. But he just, bam, he fell off. And so Cowboys said, you know what? You earn this $18 million a year running back. But at the same side, there's some analytics that say running backs don't last long in the National Football League. Running backs don't last long like Adrian Peterson did. All right. So you got to take that into consideration too. And I think what you're going to see here in the National Football League is running back turnover. And I think once that fourth year or fifth year option's up, whether they get drafted in the first or second round, you have a fifth year option or you don't, you're going to see that running back turn. So the other team has to decide, do I want this running back? Do I give this running back the second contract because his home team didn't? So I really think you're going to see a lot of it's going to be like instant mashed potatoes. It's going to just be 4 year, 5 years up, bam, switch it out. Because I don't think second year contracts for the running backs is going to be for the original team unless you're like Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore, you know, stuff like that.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I agree, man. I definitely agree with you. I can see why the market is just right, but I can also see, you know, why Saquon Barkley, you know, why for the Giants' perspective, as far as on the field, I can definitely see why. So I can see from both sides.
Yeah. But it's just all about the tread, man. There's tread, and it's hard to predict. I mean, Jerome Bettis, Frank Gore, Adrian Peterson, those guys did it. Marcus Jones-Drew, those guys did it for a long time, and it's hard to find those type of running backs. It really is. Zeke was that running back, but he just fell off so quick.
Yeah, he did. He just fell out. Yeah.
But man, you got any questions for Cowboys? Any Cowboy questions for me? Help the chump, man.
Yeah, I got you. So man, like I say, like what is standing out to you as on y'all receivers, and man, what receivers are studying out to you so far?
Jalen Tolbert, and I've talked a lot of trash about Jalen Tolbert, and I got a new nickname for Fahoko. Semi Fahoko. I got his name is Fahok the Joke, all right? Because right on the first time of training camp, Fahok the Joke, let me backtrack. Dak Prescott talked about not having picked interceptions. And the media ran it. Dak Prescott promises he won't throw 10 interceptions. No, you butthole. That's not what he said. He said he wants to eliminate tipped interceptions, all right? There's two different things. So you go into training camp, and Fahok the Joke, first thing he does, tipped.
It's that tip, but yep. I saw
interception.
I saw it. Everybody making crazy jokes with Dak Prescott. I was like, I'm looking at, man, that's not Dak Prescott fault.
That's not Dak. That is Fahok the Joke. All right, he didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
But Jalen Tolbert, so Schottenheimer, he's our new offensive coordinator. Schottenheimer, excuse me. He's our new offensive coordinator. He asked the media to ask Jalen Tolbert to see his notebook because he said that the notebook is really thick, a lot of notes, and I think you can see that now get it. Granted, they're in helmets, shorts, all that crap, But last year, he wasn't doing what he's doing now. So there is progress. He's stacking success. And that's what you want to look. And here's Jay Becerra right here. Tolbert looking good. All right. This is a third-round investment in our wide receiver group, and we need him to not be a bust. Because the first 3 picks, you need them to be instant starters, Coach Donte. I'm preaching to the choir here. You know that more than anybody.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, oh yeah.
So I need Tolbert to step up and play. And so, and for him doing this, stepping up and playing, you got to love it. You got to like it. You got to want it, right? And so Tolbert's really sticking out. Brandon Cook's getting on the same page with Dak Prescott. You know, you got the CD Lamb 88 don't hate. All right. We got Mr. Sniff, first down. All right. Just he was another one that I was on, man, and he finally woke up. Him and Dak finally got on the same page. It was Mike McCarthy's first ever draft pick as a Dallas Cowboy, and it just took him a while to get it. It took him a while to click with Dak Prescott. So the wide receiver group, it is a concern for me still because we know that we got CeeDee Lamb, we know we got Cooks, we know we got Michael Gallup, who's hopefully he's back 100%, right? But after that, can I trust Jalen Tolbert? Can I trust Fahok the Joke? All right. There's a guy named Cropper coming up into the mix, right? Kayvon Turpin, more of a special teams guy, but might have a wide receiver role. So I like our wide receiver group, but there's still concern because outside of the 3 of Lamb, Cooks, and Gallup, I don't know what's there. And that's what scares me.
Yeah, so like I say, I was saying our wide receivers, too much is not playing like rookies, not playing like rookies right now. Our wide receiving core not playing like rookies at all, man. So at the end of the day, I'm happy for these wide receivers. I really am. I'm so excited to see, Tank Dell on the field. He's small as hell. Though he got to bulk up his body weight. He got to bulk up a little bit, but I'm excited to see him on the field. Xavier Hutchinson looks really good out there as a tall, lanky wide receiver. You watch him at Iowa State. He was really good. He was one of their top rated wide receivers at Iowa State. I mean, he went over 1,000 yards. He was an All-American. He looks ready. He beat Derek Stingley for about an 80-yard bomb. It was about an 80-yard bomb, I believe. He beat him off of. So our wide receivers, I'm so surprised how our rookies been doing in training camp. Our wide receivers look like we got some pretty good depth there. We got a running back that's pretty good that's been showing up. Xavier Valladay, I think he was an undrafted free agent, that undrafted rookie free agent that we picked up, but it's pretty promising right now for the wide receiver for this Texans group.
That's good. That's good. We have a tight end that's making a big a standout. His name's John Steven Jr. I think he's wearing 49 for the Cowboys. There's a lot of talks that he's really doing good. Jay Becerra, did you see tight end 49 out there making some plays? Let me know. John Steven Jr., that'd be the guy. I think he's 49. Don't quote me on that. But no, man, Cowboys, Texans, we know that they have good rivalries. They've had good teams. Texans been to the playoffs. Cowboys been to the playoffs. John Steven Jr., Drew, you won't know him because you're an Eagle fan. You know what I'm saying? Drew, get out of here, Drew. Yeah, you say John who? John Steven Jr. That's who it is. But no, crap, I lost my train of thought. But no, so Cowboys, Texans, they've had some success. So, Cowboys, we have an owner that's been there for a long time, and he plays a GM role in Jerry Jones. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's Jerry Jones' fault." Oh, a lot of, and it is. It starts from the top down, and that's why we haven't had much success into the playoffs. The Texans, I don't know much about their ownership, much about their general manager, but what's stopping the Texans from that playoff hump?
Well, like I say, bad moves, man. We've been making bad moves. We've been making. Not too many coaches, wanting to coach for this job. But at the same time, Nick Caserio came in a tough spot where we had no salary, we had no cap space. You got to think about his first year when he came from New England. We had no cap space. We had no money. We had no money, so he couldn't go out there and get free agents. He had to use a third round pick on Davis Mills. Davis Mills was his second round pick, and Nico Collins was his fourth round pick. Who him and CJ Stroud got a very good connection. So he didn't come in the first season with the best of luck, with nothing really to have. So we just had to go by what we had. Of course, we had a terrible season. Then last year, we hired David Culley. That was his first head coaching hire. We knew David Culley was just a 1 year stopgap at that point. Then, the actual hire coming into that off season was going to be Josh McCown. But what stopped the hire is Hannah McNair. So not saying, no, we're not going to do that. Nick Caserio said, how about we hire somebody in the building? And first thing we thought was Lovie Smith. They hired Lovie Smith. Everything goes south from there. The players was complaining. They were used wrong way. Damian Pierce actually could have came back earlier. He was healthy to go, but Lovie Smith didn't want to play him. Derek Stingley could have played. Lovie Smith didn't want to play him. So the players didn't like him the way they were used. They didn't like their role. The coaches, every time the coaches have an idea to come up with a game plan, Lovie Smith didn't listen to the coaches. So when you got all that adversity going through, it's right to get the move on from them. And then we come into this year with freshness, with a little bit of cap space to make some moves. And you start by hiring D'Amico Ryans. And D'Amico Ryans is a guy that I'm glad to get. And, he was the hottest coach on the market for everybody. He had interviews with everybody, every team that was on the market, but he ended up coming back home. And I think that was a fresh breath opening to a lot of Texans fans. And you see now a lot of free agents want to come play for Houston because they have so much respect for D'Amico. They have so much respect for D'Amico Ryans and stuff like that. So now it's just a new start of a new era of the Houston Texans. I think it's going to go really well. Yes, we sacrificed some picks to get Will Anderson, but the good as D'Amico Ryans is on the defensive side. You got to trust him that he's going to develop. And Will Anderson's been acting crazy in camp, man. He's been unblockable. We've been in helmet shorts. And we go into the pads tomorrow, so we're going to definitely get a better feel on him. But he's been unblocked. He's been like unblockable as of right now. But it's start of a new era. But we started kind of tough, bad mistakes and stuff like that. Going through with the Deshaun Watson situation, everything fell apart at that moment when Bill O'Brien traded away DeAndre Hopkins. That everything just fell apart. Then you have to off the field with Deshaun Watson. He wanted to be a part of the next owner hire, the general manager hire. And McNair hired Nick Caserio. So Watson decided that he wanted out. So Texans could very much recover from all of that they went through. They can very much recover from all of that they kind of went through.
Dude, that Deshaun Watson debacle, man. I mean, the Texans got sued. He got sued. Crazy. That was just insane. That's a big distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about the Commanders, with all the with the Dan Snyder stuff, he just lost his ownership and they got new ownership now. But that stuff does distract franchises. I think one of the biggest distractions that the Cowboys had under Jason Garrett was when Josh Brent or something like that, he killed a practice squad teammate. They were out drinking and driving, and they wrecked, and he killed a Cowboys teammate. I think that was one of the biggest distractions that the Cowboys had. They went out and beat the Browns. It was Brandon Whedon's Browns, but they still went out and beat the Browns for him and stuff. But that was just crazy, dude. Just
Yeah,
how that stuff does affect an organization for sure.
yeah, it
But
did. It set us back a while. It set us back for a while.
what's your expectations going into this season?
My expectations for this season, I just want to see improvement. Whether we make the playoffs or not, I just want to see improvement. Like I say, my expectations and the prediction that I got us is 7-10. The best case scenario for the Houston Texans, I think we can be 9-8. I think that's the floor. That's the higher ceiling for this team. Last year, you look at the division. We were actually 3-2-1 in the division with the tie coming against the Indianapolis Colts in week one. But at the end of the day, man, like I said, I just want this team to improve. I want to see what CJ Stroud can go out there and do. We get a glimpse of seeing him. Is he going to be the franchise quarterback of this team in the future? Yes, he's going to make some mistakes. Of course, it's the NFL. You're playing against better players. You're playing against the faster speed of the game. You want to see your second-year players improve as well. Jalen Petrie, haven't talked about him enough. Jalen Petrie is going to be he may end up an all-pro at safety. The way he played last year, Jalen Petrie, 142 tackles at the safety position. That's damn near an all-pro, 5 interceptions last year. The one game that kind of stood out to me in the was that Dallas game. And when Jalen Petrie was on fire, hitting everybody. I come in Dallas from CeeDee Lamb from hanging on to the ball too. I believe he got a shot on CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb hung on to the ball, but he was thumping everybody that can come over the middle. But that's every game though. Every game he could do that every game to you, and he's all over the field. I gotta see Darius Stingley play a whole nother year, but Dameon Pierce run like he runs like he got someone locked up or like somebody. Dameon Pierce just runs wild, man. He's not afraid of contact. I remember he had 131 yards against the Eagles. Eagles could not tackle him at all. Bad quarterback play kind of lost us that game. Davis Mills threw the ball away in the in the Eagles' own territory that would kind of put us out that game. But we were able to run the ball easily. They couldn't tackle Dameon Pierce. Really, we didn't have a good offensive line. So I'm looking forward to second-year players, having more improvement and more of an impact on this team.
Nice. So Texans, they got a light division. All right. They got the Colts, Jaguars, the Titans, right? I think move-wise, I think the Texans had a better draft. I think they had a better offseason than any team in y'all's division, whether that's Colts, Jags, or Titans, right? I know Jalen Ramsey, he went somewhere else. He went to the Dolphins. So I think overall, I think I have a shot to win y'all's division. I really do. I really think that. So Drew here, I think he just put his foot in his mouth. He said, "No worry, coach. After this year, the tables will turn. The cow turds will be the laughingstock of the Texans when Dak is gone." But he just called Dak ass. So if Dak's ass, shouldn't we already be the laughingstock of Texas, right? So I don't get his logic there. Somebody help me out with that. So there's that. So he said, question, Coach Donte, top 5. Dakness, not in the top 5. Is Dak Prescott in your top 5? I guess that's what he's trying to say.
He just trolling right at this point on Dak. But don't nobody got Dak in the top 5. Nobody got Dak in the top 5. So there go your answer.
And I hate to hurt your feelings, but Jalen Hurts ain't top 5 either.
Yeah, that don't got nobody in the top 5. No, I'm just saying nobody got Dak in the top 5. Everybody knows he's not a top 5 quarterback.
No, he's not top 5, not at all.
You can argue
as much as some Cowboy fans and Cowboy content creators want him to be. The Frisco Report, we keep it 100, and absolutely not. He's not top 5.
Yeah. You can argue,
I love how you keep bringing up the
he's top 12. He's basically top 12, 13, however you want to put him, however you actually want to put him in those ranges. But top 5. You know, ain't nobody gonna tell you that he's top 5. Even most Cowboys fans that you ask know he's not top 5.
Look at Jalen Hurts' numbers, Drew. He's not top 5. He's a game manager that works in a well simplified system that works for Jalen Hurts. Hurts is not top 5. Look at the numbers. Period. All right. So yeah, back to your division. So Texans had a better offseason.
Yep.
And I say y'all can win the division. Do you believe that?
Like I say, why can't we? Like I say, why can't we? I tell people all the time, like people pick Jacksonville. People was picking Jacksonville like it's gonna be a walkthrough. But why? I tell people, why can't we? Why we don't have a chance to win the division? I mean, each and every year is always a division change anyway. It's always a division change. You see the Titans win it one year, Jacksonville won it last year, and they won the division at 9-8. So they're not that good of a football team. They actually struggle in the division. I mean, they were 4-3. One of the losses come to us in Jacksonville. They lost to the Colts. They lost to the Colts in the division. I believe twice they lost to the Colts, if I'm not mistaken. They did. They lost to the only team they actually swept was Tennessee. That's the only team they actually swept. So why can't we? We beat Tennessee in Tennessee. We was able to beat them in Tennessee. We beat the Colts. And we should have beat them twice. Week 1, we was up 20-0. Week 1, so arguably, if you look at the division, we were the best team in the division. When it came to division football, we were the best team. The only reason they made the playoffs was outside. They won more outside of the division than we did. So we know we can compete in the division. We know we can beat Jacksonville or anybody else in our division. Just outside of the division, who is the key for me. Outside of the division, I think. By us having a third easiest schedule, I think it's some wins there that we can have, that we can get. I think it's some wins there that we can get. Do I think we can beat Tampa Bay? Yes, I think we can beat Tampa Bay. I think we can beat the Falcons. I think we have an opportunity to win some of these games. And we, like you said, why can't we win the division? Why can't we win the division? Because technically, I say we went 3-2-1. We can compete. We can win in the division. The problem is outside of it.
Yeah. No, I think Cowboys have a good shot at winning their division. We haven't had a back-to-back winner since 2003 in the NFC East. It's always been a different winner every year. Yeah. And I think we went from the least to beast as a division in the league, right? I mean, you talk about the NFC East. I mean, the Eagles getting to a Super Bowl. You talk about the Commanders. They're a quarterback away. From being really good. That defense there the Commanders have is really good. You talk about the Giants, they're a seesaw. They're up, they're down. They're pretty inconsistent. That's because of their quarterback. So I think the Dallas Cowboys have the better defense in the division. All right. And I'm not just being biased. Everybody knows me. I keep it 100 right here on Cowboys Corner. And but I think we got the better defense. And I really think on the upside, I think we'll have the better offense. I'm not scared of an A.J. Brown. I really hope we get to see Dak and Jalen go at it one-on-one because I really think Dak Prescott put over 40 points on that defense anyway, right? So yeah. I don't care that we played the backup quarterback, yada, 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 but that was supposed to be an elite defense, and Dak Prescott just lit them up. And I don't see how Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott fumble that opportunity, but I think – that the Dallas Cowboys can win that division there.
Yep, gotcha.
But no, Coach Donte, last question, because Drew said please, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback? Hurt his feelings?
Like I say, I got him. I have him in my top 5. I have him in my top 5 just based on this year. I'm in my top 5. I thought he played some good. I thought you could argue he could have been the MVP if he didn't get hurt. He would have been the MVP this year. He would have been MVP if he got hurt. I know they kind of shocked you a little bit.
Look at his numbers. There ain't nothing there. Be careful what you ask for, Mike. Dak, 2 losers. And then he put, boom, he's rubbing it in. Thanks, Coach Donte. Thanks. Look at him. Look at him. He's rubbing it in. All right. But no, let everybody know where you can find you guys. This is Coach Donte. I got his link in the description. Make sure you click that link. I got his Twitter handle. Yes, it's Twitter. I'm not calling it X. I'm not calling any of that stupid crap. It's Twitter, god darn it. There's no such thing as social media trans, all right? It's a Twitter. It's a bird. There ain't no X. So it's right here. Coach Donte 31. You guys make sure you follow him. Where else can they find you, Coach Donte?
Y'all can find me on IG at Coach Donte31, and y'all know my Twitter handle, like you said, is in the link. Is in the link. Is in at the bio log down there. So where y'all can find me at, man. So like I say, appreciate Cowboys Corner, man, for having me on, man. It's an honor to meet to collab with my favorite Cowboys YouTuber, man. So definitely honor, man. Hope we can do it again.
No, it was an honor collabing with you guys. Again, link in the description, guys. Please sub up to my guy. If you're watching the replay, hit the like button and then go subscribe to my guy. But Jay Becerra, I do appreciate you coming in here, giving all the updates. And just last thing, Jay Becerra is going to close it out with this comment here. From what I saw at Cowboys camp, number one, Kelvin Joseph looking promising. DeMarvin Overshown, he looked like he can cover. And our defense, hands down, will be the tier 1 defense. Absolutely, Jay Becerra. Cowboy Nation, are you in the Cowboys corner? Peace.